All right, today we're doing a deep dive into a piece of hardware that sounds a little like a Wi-Fi password. The Kramer HDCP-IN2-F16.
It does have that kind of ring to it.
But it's actually a really interesting look at how professional AV systems are put together. And just to be clear, you're not going to find this at your local electronics store.
Oh, definitely not. Context is everything here. You can't just, look at this card by itself. It's a specialized module for a very specific piece of equipment.
The VS1616 series switcher.
Right. Exactly. Think of that main VS1616 chassis as the central hub for a building's entire video network. This little card we're talking about, it's one of the final outputs. It sends the signal to the actual screens.
That's a good way to put it. So you've got this big modular switcher in a rack somewhere, and you plug this card in to decide what kind of signal comes out.
Right. And for this card, the mission is to output 2 channels of video. That's the OUT2 in the name.
But here's where it gets interesting. The specs say it's an HDMI output with all the encryption, HDCP, and all that.
It is.
But when you look at it, those are DVI connectors. I mean, they're clearly DVI-D.
Yep. That's the quirk. And it's the part that trips a lot of people up. It's essentially HDMI with all its modern features, but running over a DVI physical interface.
Okay, so why?
Yeah.
Why use a connector that feels like it's from the 90s to carry a modern signal?
Reliability. It's purely about physical reliability. In your living room, an HDMI cable is fine.
Sure.
But in a professional installation, maybe a control room or a factory floor with a lot of vibration, standard HDMI connectors they can slip out. They just rely on friction. DVI connectors screw in, they lock.
So it's taking the modern digital signal, the HDMI, keeping the encryption, but pushing it through a connector that you can literally bolt into place.
Precisely. You get the benefits of the HDMI protocol without the physical anxiety of a loose cable ruining a presentation.
Let's talk about those benefits then. The specs say a max data rate of 6.75 gigabits per second.
They do.
In a world of 8K streaming, what does that number actually get you?
Well, you have to manage expectations there. 6.75 GBPs, which is about 2.25 per channel. It's not for uncompressed, high frame rate 4K.
So no high-end gaming on this?
No, this is a workhorse spec. It's more than enough for rock-solid 1080p, maybe some basic 3D content, which is honestly what 99% of these corporate or government installs need. It's about stability, not pushing the absolute max pixels.
Okay, so stability over raw power. And it's fully HDCP compliant.
Absolutely. It has that digital handshake it needs to pass through protected content. Think Blu-rays, encrypted satellite feeds, that kind of thing.
Now, since this thing slides into a big chassis with potentially 15 other cards, I have to imagine heat is a major concern.
It's the enemy of every rack-mounted system, and that's where the engineering here is pretty smart. This card only draws about 5 watts of power.
That's really low.
It's incredibly low. When you have a fully loaded rack, keeping that thermal footprint down on a per-card basis is absolutely critical.
And it's tiny, right?
Yeah, standard modular size, weighs about half a pound or 0.23 kilos. It's designed to be hot-swapped easily. No special tools, no heavy lifting.
I saw another acronym in the specs that I always associate with government work, TAA compliance.
Ah, yes. That's a huge deal. TAA compliance basically means it's approved for use in U.S. federal government contracts. If you're outfitting a courthouse or a military facility, you can't just buy any gear off the shelf. It has to meet that standard.
So that really tells you who the target audience is.
It does. And Kramer really leans into that whole institutional reliability thing. Did you see the support options?
I did. They list email, chat, text, and even fax support. Fax.
Yeah, that sounds a little funny today, but it speaks volumes. It tells you they've been supporting these kinds of systems for a very long time, and if a client has some legacy workflow, Kramer is saying, we've got you.
So to sum it up, we have a card that solves a very specific problem, getting a secure, modern digital signal out of a big switcher using a connector that won't fall out.
And that really gets to the heart of professional AV. It's all modular. You don't have to rip out the entire system just to change one type of connection. You just swap the card.
That is a great takeaway. So before we wrap this deep dive, what's the one thought you're left with?
It makes you rethink how we view obsolete technology. Everyone assumes a new connector just kills the old one. But here you have the DVI interface, decades old, being kept alive to carry modern signals. Just because the physical design, that simple screw lock, was better.
It makes you wonder, why do we rush to abandon things that just plain work?
Exactly. Sometimes the old solution is still the right one for the job.
Little respect for the screw-down connector. Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.